Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show. Today we have the founder of the HipHop Detox, Brother Enoch. I wasn't trying to rhyme, but y'all know I still got a little of it in me, though. I still can get down a little bit.
You never lose it. You never lose it.
Never lose it.
You never lose it.
That's what I'm talking about, brother.
Yes, sir.
We want to get into HipHop Detox. We want to give you all a foundation on why we need a HipHop Detox, brother. So, and we know that the word, the term detox, it can relate to you removing something that is poisonous that might be affecting your full potential or whatever you're trying to get involved or whatever your endeavors are, right? And also, brother, wrote a book called Pause, and we're going to get into that because that is synchronicity. So, Brother Enoch, why a hip-hop detox?
Well, first of all, for those who don't know, hip-hop has 5 cultural elements. I think everybody should know. We just passed the 50-year anniversary of hip-hop. However, from a cultural perspective, hip-hop, you have the DJ, you got the graffiti artist, you got the dancer, whether the b-boy, the b-girl, you got the MC, and then you have the knowledge, the truth, the science. And so those are the 5 cultural elements of hip-hop and the foundation of hip-hop. However, when we say hip-hop detox, we're saying we define hip-hop as being truth without boundaries. And so the detox, yes, it is to remove the poisons. And when we look at the poisons, we're identifying lies, half-truths, and myths. And that's the cornerstone of the poison that we have to put our hip-hop on. Because if we don't put our hip-hop on it, we'll continue to have what we have today, which is not really hip-hop in its essence form. Yes, people can say, hey, you got a rapper, you got somebody DJing. That's very true. However, many lies have been told about art imitating life, life imitating art. However, there was one actual European who came out. His name is Bertolt Brecht. B-E-R-T-O-L-T, Brecht, B-R-E-C-H-T. This European said, art is not a mirror that's held up to reality, but art is a hammer with which to shape reality. Now, when you think about that, that means that you use art to make life what it's supposed to be, and every time you put that art in front of people, you give it to them repetitiously, you're able to shape the conscious and the subconscious mind. And so that's why it's so important for us to have a hip-hop detox today, because when you think about every statistic when it comes to black people in the United States in particular and all over the world, how are we doing as a people?
That's right.
What is our conditions as a people? And that alone dictates that we need a hip-hop detox.
And that makes a lot of sense. And the statement she made makes a lot of sense from their perspective and their narrative. Because if you haven't originated anything, then you have to use art in order to create a false sense of reality. I can remember when Birth of a Nation came out and how they purposely did the blackface to create that stigmatism in the minds of the people to say this is how they are. And from that movie, they started saying that this is black people, this is, but they created the narrative.
Exactly.
But we didn't have a detox. We didn't have a mindset that went into the people, right, to say, wait a minute, this is not reality.
Right.
Now I take that back. We did have, when Master Farah Muhammad came, he brought the knowledge, taught the Honorable Minister Elijah Muhammad. That knowledge woke a lot of people up.
Right.
Percentage. But now today, after, and I know you get to that, the Million Man March, right? That woke up a mass of a lot of people, right?
Right.
So now today, we're at the cusp of a hip-hop detox, because hip-hop is a universal language, as KRS-One told me. You can go anywhere outside of America and you see hip hop.
Anywhere, yes sir.
Anywhere.
I bear witness. I was in Iraq and I saw hip hop. It was Iraqis talking about French Montana.
Come on.
You know, and that was in Iraq. This is back in 2017 when we went there. Myself, Phnom, Young Khan the Don, and Kenny the Human Music Orchestra. Shout out to KX on the Flex. And we all went out and spent 10 days in Iraq. We went from Najaf to Karbala, and we were part of the Abareen pilgrimage, which we had just learned about because HipHop Detox was invited to be part of a conference for free-thinking artists and activists. And when we went out there, we did a cipher during the pilgrimage, and they had all these cameras and everything there, but we didn't know that the major press was there, and they sent that cipher that we did through 60 million people out in Persia. And once they saw us, everywhere we went, we had people all around us, youth, young adults, and they all were vibing to hip hop. And we have that recorded as well, so that'd be something I can share with you. But we have that recorded, a 25-minute mini documentary, just to show you the power of what happens when we take what Allah has blessed us to have, and we utilize it for higher purposes, divine purposes, elevated purposes.
Right. And as you stated, the onset of hip hop was based on truth, or us telling our reality and our story to the masses. Now, how did and when did the poison come in and steer it? And how did we let them, not only in hip hop, though, in other avenues of life? It's always, and we see, because we have to figure this thing out, right? Every time we create something, some kind of way they come in and they get control. I don't care if it's rock and roll, jazz, and it's something we're not doing, or we not creating borders, or what are we doing wrong to where everything we started with an energy, a spirit, high frequency, high vibration, and it's uplifting the people and we moving. But some kind of way they come in, inject that poison, and then it begins to get weak.
Well, you know, it's divine and it's universal in nature. So the principle, let's look at the principle. It takes a God to defeat a God. Let's look at it. Let's just get to the bottom line. Cut to the chase. It takes a God to defeat a God. So when you mentioned, for example, you made me put my phone out. You mentioned about Master Fard Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
Well, when I gave you that quote, I'm gonna give it again. Bertolt Brecht. This person was born in 1898. Now, serve my memory correct, Master Fard Muhammad was born in 1877, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, this person is younger. However, they only lived from 1898 to 1956, but in the 20s and 30s, in which they were functioning in Germany, they utilized this principle of art. Art is not a mirror held up to reality, but a hammer with which to shape it, meaning shape the reality. Well, when you consider that we were given science, but we were given it in such a way as to make those who are unscientific to be able to understand it. So we're told we're in the kindergarten of the knowledge of Master Fard Muhammad. We're in the kindergarten class. In the kindergarten class, you teaching children artistically. You're giving them clay to play with. You're giving them puzzles. You're giving them riddles. You're giving them rhymes. You're giving them all those things that will stimulate critical thinking, conscious listening, helping them to develop the necessary foresight and insight so they don't have to always keep functioning from hindsight. So we're dealing with a reality that the poisons that keep on coming up, well, they keep coming up because we have to be willing to produce an antidote that comes from within, just like the web of a spider comes from within the spider itself. We have to produce an antidote where our Islam is a lifestyle. It's not a rigid religion where we're moving around robotically, but it's something that comes from the essence of us. So when we hear people, the elders talk about that old time religion,
Right.
we're talking about that which is of our nature.
Right.
Not that which is coming from cultural imperialism, or that which is coming from somebody that's imposing stuff on us. We're saying, hey, this is my nature.
Right.
My nature is the nature of God. My nature is the nature of righteousness. And I have unknowingly, and I have misunderstood myself in such a way where I have taken on and adopted the ways of a stranger.
Right.
I have taken on the ways of one who's not my father.
Right.
And because I've taken on the ways of one that's not my father, I have to now go back to my father. I have to go back to who I really am because I misunderstood. I was taught wrong. I was taught the wrong foods to eat, the wrong thoughts to think, and I was following the footsteps of my open enemy. So today is a blessed day because there's no mistaking the day of who your open enemies are.
Right.
Unfortunately, way too many of us are looking at ops, and our ops is down the street.
Right.
These dudes from this ward, these dudes from this block, this set. And unfortunately, I go to different parts of the country and talk to different people, and of course they want to talk about O Block. Some people know about Lamron, and we talk about different parts of Chicago because the music and the entertainment has popularized us killing us. Right. And it's popularized our division and our hatred of us. So everything that was in the Willie Lynch letter that was communicated in 1995 at the Million Man March represents a poison that if we are not careful, we begin to not produce antidotes that spread to our children, our children's children. We produce higher forms of poison. So now we're divided by everything. I was just considering and thinking about how Willie Lynch, when he gave his speech and he said, let's take these lists of differences but make them bigger. Some people live on the hill. Some people live in the valley. Some people live north, south, east, or west. So you make those differences bigger. Well, some people think the earth is flat. Some think it's round. Some think it's oblong. You become divided over that. Some of us are indigenous black people, and our ancestors were here, come off the boat, and we are the indigenous African people. Well, no, some of us, we were on the continent of Africa, and we never been made slaves like those of us. So we're different. Therefore, we got to fight and kill each other or abuse one another because of our perception of one another. We have now exacerbated and taken the list that Willie Lynch put out there that we have supposed to have been overcoming. Now we're producing different concoctions of it. We're producing different hybrids of it. We're producing different genetically modified versions of it.
Yes, sir.
So today we have to now detox all of that.
All of it.
Because if we don't get down to the lowest common denominator, regardless to land, label, or language, there's one God, one creator, one source. I don't care what name you use. I don't care what language you speak. If my body died and I'm dead in China, just because I come from the south side of Chicago, China and that soil will not say, oh, let that nigga get up out of here. That nigga can't be buried in the soil of China. That soil will take me in, and it will put me like anybody else's body through a process of deterioration. But we can't understand that because we so locked in to what the God of this world has done to us.
Right.
The God of this world. Tupac said it greatly. I mean, when he did in that Machiavelli album, The White Man's World, he put it out there. We probably in hell already. Our dumb asses not knowing. Everybody kissing ass to go to heaven ain't going. I put my soul on it. A lot of us right now, we're not recognizing that the citizens of this nation, the real citizens, they did bring us here to be the burden bearers.
Right.
And those 13 colonies, those European nations that occupied and made up this nation, they use skill, they use art and science. They use all the degrees of masonry, if you will. They use all of the technology, if you will. Whatever way you want to come at it, all of it was used to produce a poison that it took one from 1877 to be born to come 9,000 miles to be able to help us produce a concoction, help us to produce an antidote that would begin to crack us in such a way into those parts that was necessary so that when the Messiah came and the Messiah was made known, that we would do the work and we would be on our assignments doing what we're supposed to do. So I just want to say, man, I don't have to wait till February or October to say Happy Savior's Day. To everybody that watched this, Happy Savior's Day.
Hey,
because Happy Savior's Day means that every day is that day. And we got to get accustomed to looking at ourselves like that, because we're in the training and we're in the making and we're in the process. And salvation always starts with self first. Spirit, mind, emotion, body. It starts with self first. And that's why we got to have a hip-hop detox. And that's why we have to detox the poison that starts in self first and then it spreads to others. We have to do that.
Right. And by doing that, I'm understanding that the knowledge from a clear mind will produce music now that will be uplifting. Because we in a time where, brother, first, we was colonized. I don't care if you from Africa, the Caribbean, or America. You been colonized. Leopold and the Congos. Here over here, the British and Africa. You got Africa, you speaking French in Africa. The Moors were conquered in Spain. A lot of the Moors that were conquered in Spain came to America and went to Africa, went to Cuba. You know, matter of fact, in the Inquisition, really, basically, without getting going there, right? And so, when we understand that it's foolish, it's foolish for us to find differences amongst each other when they can come together and do business, while the messenger said, you study the white man, study him.
He's successful.
And the thing about it is, brother, we taught him. He's actually working on some of the knowledge that we taught him in business.
But he could only do what he's doing when you have a whole bunch of people who are dead to the knowledge of themselves and their open enemy.
But why dead? But why dead today's 2025?
Why they dead?
AI getting ready to come into full effect. You're going to have to get on it, brother. Because if not, the separation will be so great. You'll be left so far behind to where it will really be hard to pull you back up.
Think about what you led with. How do you get us to get to that other wavelength? Because we've been interfered with for so long, tampered with for so long. That's why the Most Honorable Muhammad says it's better to teach separation than prayer. Because you can be so-called praying, but you praying in the name of your open enemy, your open oppressor, and you praying those thoughts and those ideas that's from a slave mind. So a slave can never defeat a God of his own world. When you a slave, you can't go where you need to go. You can't think the thoughts you need to think. So it's okay for a slave to just talk about dancing and partying and kicking it and getting lit, because that's what slaves historically have been given to do. You keep your mind occupied with that. So from an artist perspective, for me to say on one side of my gift, I say, okay, I'm talking about party. It's a party rhyme. Yes, it's me, the DEE, celebrating a birthday party on the MIC. Yes, the time has come for us to get on down with my family, my friends, and my crew around. It's time to get up, get loose. It's time to get buck wild. This is a party, so don't need to frown. It's a swing ding, a get up and shake your butt jam. That's a whole party vibe. But on another side, if I say, I can make you bounce right into millennium. Need a new chip, Y2K's Pentium. Send your email, no moving like a snail. Quick thinking, fast moving, straight out of hell. Cyberspace bandit, ghetto black teacher. Reach by Farrakhan, so God can reach ya. Well, that's a whole different party vibe. Even if I'm talking about partying, I got different syllables, different words that I'm using. And then if I want to get out of the party scene and I take it to a different frequency, I say, let the truth be told, or let the heavens crumble. Political assassinations real subtle, fuddle minds in the millions. Mass is still asking the who, what, when, where, and how. What the hell happened? That's why I'm rapping. Heads need to be snapped in. Put on the highest pole in your community. Modus operandi is exposed. Look up and see. Who killed who? Stools are boiling as the plot thickens. Cause the last parts of prophecies unfolding. Like my website, y'all need to search for the chosen. Fight popular versions, true expersions, controversy. Like that artist formerly known as Prince, MP3's earning. That's a whole different vibe, whole different frequency. So in order to cross over, not to campground only, but to the mindset that you have to even articulate beyond twerking, beyond I'm gonna get this switch and I'm gonna kill so and so. You have to have a whole transformation of the spirit, mind, emotion, body, so then you can find creative ways to take that enlightenment and then you put it into a context that's not only freeing for you, because you're so happy you can communicate on a level that's way beyond where you used to be, but then you can hopefully inspire others to think on higher levels, attract them to higher vibrations of thought, so then they can now begin to look at higher vibrations that produce actions.
When you spit that rap on a higher vibration, I was communicating with you on a higher vibration. Now I understand why he does what he does, and he needs that poison because he can't go that high.
Right.
He got to keep you here so he can communicate and understand what you're doing.
Oh, he got to.
But if you elevate higher, he can't go there.
No, he can't.
So you okay? So don't hate the player, hate the game. He gonna do what he got to do.
He got to do it. He's the God of his own world, and he was given divine right to be a God of his own world. That's why we have to recognize those who will watch this, those who have knowledge of self. I'm not talking about those who don't have knowledge of self. I'm talking about the civilized man or woman who knows that big fields await the wide awake woman and man to work out in. I want you to understand when you watch this, Brother Enoch Muhammad used to be a whole bunch of other names that were slave names. Right. But when I signed on the dotted line, and I did not want that slave name no more, I had to write a letter to my Lord and Savior saying I would accept to be excommunicated from a slave lifestyle. And I know that this is going to be rigorous because the vicissitudes of life written about and prophesied in the scriptures, they were likened unto just going through death itself to come on the other side of life. That we had to put on the whole armor of God to get through these turbulent times. We're living in those turbulent times. That's why when we talk about the prayer that communicates about the judgment day, we're saying in which we now live, to remind us that we're going through the book of Timothy. We're going through Isaiah. We're going through Revelations. We're going through all 114 chapters or surahs of the Holy Quran. We're living through this because now we have to cross over, and we're at that moment. We're in the valley of decision to choose whether to be right or wrong. It's your move.
Oh, brother, we gonna crack one more atom because you cracked a bunch of them so far. Let's crack one more atom, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh my God! I don't know if I saw this on the podcast that Obama was on this weekend.
Yes, sir.
And he was saying that every man needs a gay man in his life. Now this is Obama now, right?
Yes, sir.
And it made me think like, wow, right? Wow. So you got the elite, and as you know, brother Stokely Carmichael.
Yes, sir. Kwame Ture. Yes,
Kwame Ture was talking about the boule.
Yes.
Then I'm understanding how they do the bid and they drop these poisonous seeds within the community that we're not benefiting from, right?
Right.
But the question is we're so out of tune that we don't spot it till it's too late and now we reacting.
Yes, sir.
Is there a method or any way we can spot when they're coming with when they're trying to inject when they're trying to inject an agenda into the community, when they start, every time we start to get life and we started moving, all of a sudden you will hear as time passes, I remember when we used to wear the African medallion. I remember when we was Black Power on, we was level, we was calling sisters queens, and
yes, sir.
You know, we had fun, but how did it just dissipate without us even seeing a trace of it?
Yes, sir. You know, poison has the power to take away the levels of awareness that we need, and at minimum, we get careless. At minimum. The max is what we're seeing because we're past being careless. So in the book Poison that you mentioned that I wrote, there's a part in the book and I'm just going to read this part of it that deals with the levels of poison to understand how pervasive it is. Now, when we talk about poison, what we're saying is that poison, yes, it is a deadly potion or substance. However, it's spiritually corrupting ideas also with evil intentions. So when we poison someone with the verb part of poison, it is to give someone poison or add poison to that with the intention to kill them. Give it to them in their food to drink or smoke or put it in their food. However, when we talk about poison in the context of it, listen to this, I'm going to read it. Poison is everywhere. It surrounds us in the air, in the water, in the food. Poison is transmitted through the pen, the paint, the electronic devices, the sound and airwaves. Poison moves through spoken word. It moves through words spoken and unspoken, in text, in audio, in poetry, in storytelling, in speech, in hand movements, and facial expressions. Poison is loud, is soft, is hard, is attractive, is appealing in rhythmic patterns laced on top and within a beat. Poison in our habits, in our clothes, in what we wear, how we wear it, when we wear it, why we wear it, in our use of time and space, and why we do what we do. Poison engulfs the 8 billion inhabitants upon the earth. Poison blinds. It energizes till it numbs you. It enlivens you till it chokes you. It frees you till it enslaves you. It holds your attention, then leaves you empty. Poison is excess. Poison is abuse. Poison is addiction. Poison is injustice. So when we consider on whatever level, when it comes out of the brother that we love, the sister that we love, even when we hear poison that may come out of us, it's kind of like the whole idea of Satan, get behind me when Jesus heard something come from one of his disciples. We have to be of the mindset that, look, any of us can turn devil or hypocrite overnight. And all we're going to do is exude poison because it's in us, it's everywhere. The question becomes, are we ready to detox anytime we see or hear or feel the poison stimulated in us? Because sometimes we kill that self-accusing spirit or the messenger of God within self. We kill it.
Yes, sir.
Or we lessen the effect of it because we don't want to hear it tell us or instruct us on what we should or should not do, because we're engulfed in a society it's like poison is all around us to the point where we have to be spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically detoxed not only on a daily basis, but every second or millisecond. We got to have it handy so that way we're able to say, hey, let me make sure I don't let that enter into the portals of my dome, because I have to check that. That's my checkpoint. My spiritual, mental, emotional, moral checkpoint. So that way, once I do my check on it, oh no, I can't let that in. You discard of that because I don't need that in my mind and my heart. That's where we're at right now in time. And that's why we have to be willing to detox the poison. And it's okay to use hip hop or truth without boundaries to detox it, because we're not talking about quote unquote just rap music. What we're saying is that when you look at hip hop, every genre of music that's been produced ever since we used Negro spirituals, as they call it, but it was just spirituals that reminded us of our Creator so that we could get through the hell of chattel slavery. Well, anything that comes from that and was produced from it, we can use those genres, if you will, those vibrations and frequencies. The movie Sinners, that was a great demonstration to show the connectivity of us as a people and how Satan can get in the mix of that and can utilize it for our destruction. But if God get there, if the Most High get involved in it, the Most High can flip the script and utilize us and the creativity that we were granted and given to be able to produce the bombs that we need. Not just the bomb in Gilead, the bomb in Houston, the bomb in Chicago, the bomb in Jacksonville, Florida, the bomb in St. Louis, the bomb in Baltimore. We need bombs everywhere around the globe. And that's why it's so necessary in the Million Man March pledge. We were exhorted, support clean artists, support those people that are doing those things, that are helping our people to elevate and rise, so that when you accept that first part of the pledge to improve yourself, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, economically, politically, for the benefit of yourself, your family, and your people. And you were exhorted to build Black-owned businesses, build or start or engage in international trade and commerce for the benefits of yourself, your family, your people. All those things start with the mindset that you have to have. And that's one of the reasons, brother, why we're doing the October 16th Males to Men Seminar and Benefit this year, because this is our 3rd annual Males to Men Seminar that we're doing. And we were blessed to start off humble beginnings. We started off doing these seminars as a result of the past almost 20 years of us doing HipHop Detox in Chicago and all over the country. But we're doing these Males to Men seminars, and soon we're going to be doing the sisters versions of that, because we have a program called Rhinestones to Diamonds that we're revamping so that we can help our sisters, because the enemy's attack against our women is horrible. It's a horrible attack. And so the Males to Men Empowerment Seminar and Benefit this year is to commemorate the 30-year anniversary of the Million Man March and all those marches and movements that happened since that time, because our open adversary, enemy, opponent, or op has done a great job of making sure that every school that we've gone into, I'm talking about for the last 20 years, brother, we've had to go in and tell young people that there is such a thing as the Million Man March. They don't even know it exists. When I show this picture or this image, they're thinking this is from 1963 and the Dr. King March. And I'm like, no, this is the Million Man March. Right. And so they have no idea about the history. They don't know that it happened. They don't know what it took to make it happen. They don't know what the purpose was. So we have to explain to them, look, we in Chicago, for example, I think it was in 1993, before the internet blew up, before Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, we had in Chicago tremendous problems, just like other cities at that time, where we were killing each other at alarming rates. The homicide rate in Chicago, according to FBI statistics, was at 940 that year in 1993. The last time the murder rate was that high in the city of Chicago, it was in 1974, when it was 970 murders. So when you consider that after the Million Man March, not only did it begin to decline in 96 going forward, but it was a sharp decline all over the country, the homicide rate went down. Right. Because there was a transformative work that had never been done before, where you had over 1 million black men together 14 plus hours standing there in Washington, D.C. against all odds, against the threats of Aryan Nation and Ku Klux Klan, and people talking about they're going to shoot those who are going to attend the Million Nigger March. And so you had people threatening, saying if anybody they see black going to D.C. on before October 16th, we're gonna do this and that. We didn't give a damn. We said we came to die.
Right, we were there.
And we were there, and we were prepared to do whatever it took to be there and to follow the instructions. And see, many people misunderstand that when you have a Star Wars, for example, and that movie comes out and you see part 1, and some of us didn't know that it was going to be a series, but everybody was excited about, those who know about Star Wars, you excited about Luke Skywalker and Chewbacca and R2-D2, and you excited about all those characters in that first part. But then there's something called Empire Strikes Back. And it lets you know that for every punch, there's a counter punch. And so the action produced an equal and opposite reaction. And so all those who talked about how, man, Million Man March was just a love fest, there was no public policy attached to it. Well, what happened in 1997? You had the politically convention of the oppressed in St. Louis. What happened then? What happened when you saw the national agenda to be able to help us as a people have an agenda that would keep us all together? Well, I'll tell you one of the things that took place. People got so sidetracked, so caught up with jealousy and envy and not recognizing the need for us to have strategic unity, that we lost a lot of the momentum because we had opposition that never put those positive outcomes in the media. They just kept on doing everything they could to minimize and marginalize from the attendance, and whether we had 400,000, a million, 1.8 million, they kept that in the news. They kept in the news the minister was taking that message of atonement and reconciliation all over the world, because people all over the globe through C-SPAN and CNN, they watched and witnessed the Million Man March. And so he took it all over the globe. So people wanted to talk about, out of all the countries he went to, there was 5 or 6 that the United States don't like. So they spent time talking about that, and people got caught up in those things. Right. But they forgot about all those thousands of children that it was asked for, the men who attended the Million Man March and the men who watched. They were asked to please start adopting black children, start adopting black babies. Right. They didn't talk about that.
No.
They didn't talk about the 1.2 million black men who was asked to register to vote for the next election cycle. Those men, they registered. Right. The men who was asked, they said, listen, join an organization. If you love black people, you must be organized. I myself, I joined the the NAACP and became second vice president in the student chapter of the NAACP. I had never been a member of the NAACP. But because of the Million Man March, I went and joined the NAACP. Then I became a member of the All African People Revolutionary Party, and I met Brother Kwame Ture and those who were with him. The point that I'm making is that we have to educate our children, our parents, our adults, because in the city of Chicago, in 1995, we had 2 black aldermen who put a proclamation together, and they made, with the sign off of the mayor at that time, Mayor Daley, 1995, October 16th, that day, the Million Man March and the Day of Atonement is considered a divinity day. Many people in the city of Chicago do not know that. And all over the country, that's on the books. Many cities did that because they saw how powerful that day was. In the city of Chicago right now, the Chicago public school system have given 5 days as a mental health day for students to be able to take off to deal with the anxiety, the grief, to find something they can do to help them have balance mentally. Well, Dr. Naeem Akbar, when he spoke at the Million Man March, he said that was the healthiest mental health day that any black human being coming from as an African descendant, that was the healthiest day mentally for any of us that we ever had, because we were able to witness all of us there, not one fight, not one robbing, not one stabbing. But they had cameras everywhere because they knew something was going to happen. They had tanks underground, snipers on rooftops, because they was ready to set it off, because they knew at that time, with all the different art forms that was around, you had movies like Menace to Society, movies like Boys in the Hood, Juice, all these movies that had shootings that took place and people being killed, hip-hop concerts where violence was breaking out or killings and shootings were taking place. They knew we were going to set it off when we got there. But not only did we not set it off, they said that that was the most well-attended, well-behaved event ever in the history on the mall that day. They said that when they came back to see the mall the next day, the people who deal with sanitation didn't have to do anything because it was so clean. The men made sure, we made sure, I was there with the people that I helped to organize to come from Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, Illinois. We came and we helped to make sure there was no litter on the ground. See, I want you all to understand that we're not talking about thinking about what was, we're talking about what is.
Right.
And that's why since 2023, we've been doing these males to men seminars, because every time we come to these young people, we're bringing that spirit of the Million Man March. And so we see them, we dap it up with them, we salute them. And when they get off the bus, they're getting every man's attention to let them know that we respect you, we honor you. I don't have to know your first name, know your last name to show appreciation to you, to show gratitude to you, to show love to you. And that's why it's so important for us to get not only you involved, but get your whole family involved, get your organizations involved, because this year is the 30-year anniversary, and we have an opportunity to do something that unfortunately has not been done in past generations. We take that which was done and we model it, we demonstrate it, we give it life. So we're not talking about what was and we're dealing with past tense. We're talking about what is and we're dealing with present tense. And for those who want to join us in Chicago, we'll be at Chicago State University on October 16th. We're going to have the Males to Men Seminar with 1,000+ youth that'll be coming from the Chicagoland area. But if you got a special group that you want to bring, let us know ASAP, because we got a few more slots left that we might be able to squeeze you in. But if you would like to support us, you can go to www.hiphopdetox.org. That's HIPHOPDETOXX.org. So then you can donate, you can volunteer, because the theme for these Males to Men seminars is rise up, follow up, and follow through. I'm going to say it again. It's rise up, follow up, and follow through. I give kudos to Miss Keisha. She's the co-founder of HipHop Detox, and she's the one that inspired and came up with that aspect of it, because she saw the work that we have been doing, and she said, look, you all are doing and we all are doing follow up and follow through work, and that should be the theme, so that everybody who participates understands. If you're teaching the young people about drones or blockchain technology, you rose up on October 16th, but you got to follow up. You got to follow through. You got to make sure we don't leave these young brothers hanging and they don't get a chance to see you again, so then they can get additional support, additional training. We're looking for 300 men to commit to working with these 1,000 young brothers for the entire year, because we know that we have to have sustainable help. We need people power. We need women to help us out, to make sure that just like in 1995, it wasn't just men that put the Million Man March together. It was men and women who came together, not only to put it together, but they spoke. Some of us remember Dr. Rosa Parks, who spoke. We remember Dr. Betty Shabazz, who spoke. We remember Mother Tainetta Muhammad, who spoke. Remember our sister doctor and student minister and spokesperson, Ava Muhammad, who spoke. See, may the Almighty, man, forever be pleased with them. Our sister Dr. Dorothy Height. A lot of us who don't know who these individuals are, you should listen and look up all of them. Watch their videos, because the reality is that we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors who put work in to make what we do possible. And that's why I thank my brother for this opportunity to communicate with you all on his platform, because the reality is that we're just getting started. We're 85 days away from the October 16th Million Man March 30-year anniversary. And it's a day of not only atonement, reconciliation, responsibility, and absence, but it's also a day of mental health. It's a day of service. And we're asking for your support, because the benefit event that we're doing that evening from 7 to 10 o'clock, yes, we're going to do our HipHop Detox live production. We're going to have artists, we're going to have singers, dancers, rappers. We hopefully in Houston, we're going to have your brother Ali Sadiq there. We're working to still get him locked in, but we hopefully will have our brother. Yeah, we want Ali. He wants, from what I was told, Ali wants to be part of it. We just got to keep working with his manager, Joe, so we can get him in, because the reality is that all those who have the right spirit, yeah, you got popularity, you got this, that, and the other, but you got to have the right spirit and the right heart to do this work, so that we can transform lives. Because October 16th is the launch pad. But 365 days later, what will our results be? What will we be looking at as our results? We need people to understand that. And again, if you want to support us, you can support us in those ways. If you need to reach out to us because you got questions, you can call us at 773-563-4315. That's 773-563-4315. Because we want to make it possible for you to participate, whether you come there and be part of it, whether you donate, whether you volunteer. We want to make sure that we connect the dots. And lastly, before you ask your last question, I want to make sure you all know HipHop Detox is here in Houston, and we're looking to make sure that we expand our work so that we can work with the professionals who work with young people, work with the parents and the caretakers of our children and our young adults, because we know you need help. We know burnout is real. We know that people need to find a way to reset. And I'm talking about the adults. You need to find ways to rejuvenate and empower and synergize and educate and transform yourself to be able to deal with your own trauma, your own adverse childhood issues. We know that that's a reality. And we can't just say help the children, but you don't help the parents who are going through hell. You don't help the adults who are trying to teach them, guide them, lead them, train, facilitate, counsel. You need support and help. So we're coming to Houston to offer that, whether it's in the school system, whether it's in the different agencies that need this kind of assistance with our hip-hop empowerment and our holistic human development curriculum and pedagogy. Our goal is to support and to help. And so again, we're here, and I thank you all for listening and participating in this platform.
Yes, sir, brother. No questions, because you made it so plain that anyone that heard this understand.
Yes,
I appreciate that effort, bro.
Yes, sir.
Doing it that way. And look, you all, we're gonna give this brother a hand. Y'all see it? Yes, sir. We out. Bro.Enoch Radio. Thank you all for listening. Brother Enoch, HipHop Detox. Thank you, man.
Hey, thank you, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Peace and love.
Brother Enoch, thank you for the interview. HipHop Detox, Bro.Enoch Radio. We appreciate you all. Look, make sure you all get involved. Contact the brother. This thing is real. Let's make it happen. This is our time. Right here on Bro.Enoch Radio. We're out.